Well, it's finally move-in day after months of waiting for students who signed a lease with the Element Apartments. But a lot of people say they're still frustrated. Hear why up next.
In a Cal State Long Beach, hundreds of students protested a possible tuition increase.
And we talked to Ohio State students who witnessed a protester get tackled at an anti-Trump rally.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Eventually, the project just kept getting delayed more and more because of the work permits and basically the dysfunctionality of the developers.
Students at the Element apartment complex on Hoover are finally able to move in, but some say they're still having problems. Good evening, I'm Aaron Hendel.
And I'm Brittany Hope. Annenberg Media's Lauren Day is live at Element. Lauren, what's the latest?
Well, Brittany and Aaron, students have been waiting months to move into the Element Apartments that you see right here behind me, but only now are they able to move in. Now, students and residents who signed a lease here with Element were expecting to live here from the start of the semester, but the building wasn't done yet. So they kept pushing back that move-in date from August to September to October to finally this week. And although students say the apartments live up to their expectations, a lot of them are still frustrated.
We're supposed to be in one of the penthouse units, and those aren't going to be done yet. Very similar to the rest of the building.
The security of the building itself, there's nothing like a security guard or the elevators actually. Is there an elevator?
There are a few elevators. Yeah. They don't work at the moment, but security is definitely an issue.
Just trying to be as patient as I can because I was patient pretty much all semester, you know, like hopefully it's nothing that takes 3 or 4 months to resolve.
And even though the apartments itself are finished and students are finally moving into their new homes for the second time in the middle of the semester, a lot of them say they're still extremely annoyed by this whole situation because part of the building is not done yet. And I want to show you the part that's still under construction. If you take a walk with me here, you can see this front portion is still an active construction site just by looking at the scaffolding. Now, this is the part where the amenities are supposed to be, like a gym and a restaurant. So, of course, students say not only can they not enjoy those amenities, but of course, there's going to be a lot of noise. Live from Hoover and Adams, Lauren Day, Annenberg Media.
Thanks, Lauren. Former USC Athletic Director Pat Haden was taken to the hospital this morning. Haden was wheeled out of Bovard on a stretcher and put into an ambulance. An Annenberg Media reporter was on scene and says Haden sat upright and underwent tests in the ambulance. A USC spokesperson said Haden suffered from lightheadedness, similar to 2 incidents previous. As of this afternoon, the 63-year-old former athletic director was still at the hospital, but conscious and reportedly talkative. Tuition may be going up at California state universities, and that has some students upset. Annenberg Media's Katie Jacoby spoke to students who took their complaints to the Board of Trustees with a zombie-themed protest.
Demonstrators from the group Students for Quality Education spent the day protesting CSU tuition hikes at the Chancellor's office in Long Beach.
Students are graduating with a lot of debt, and what are they going to do, right? How are they going to build their family, right? How are they going to buy a home? How are they going to reach the quote-unquote American dream?
The 5% increase would raise tuition $270 for undergrads and $438 for grad students in the coming academic year. SQE protesters said many CSU students are already forced to work multiple jobs, and some even have struggled with homelessness.
Last year I was actually homeless. I'm really scared to death because I already work 2 jobs. And I'm very passionate about education. I'm a sociology major. I want to teach myself in higher education, but I'm really scared I won't be able to come back.
Assistant Vice Chancellor Lori Widener said that tuition increases are still under discussion and encouraged the students to take their protests to lawmakers in Sacramento.
Our first goal is to advocate for more state funding. What we're trying to do is invest in the strategies that help more students to earn their degree faster. So we want to open up more class sections, hire more faculty, bring in more advisors. But students will graduate on the timeline that best suits their individual circumstance.
SQE says there will be more protests tomorrow, with students from Northern California planning to join the fight. An official decision will be made in January. For Annenberg Media, I'm Katie Jacoby.
Cell phone video captured a man tackling a protester during a rally at Ohio State University last night, and tonight we have reaction from people who were there. The person who was shoved is a member of the International Socialist Organization. He lay face down at the bottom of the staircase, while the man who pushed him was quickly taken into custody. Demonstrators around the scene chanted the word shame as he was led out of the building.
It was just a frightening thing to witness, and then obviously to see your friend fall to the ground with the thud that you hear in the video and hoping that he's okay. So yeah, I mean, the only way that I could accurately describe it is that it was just a scary situation.
The organizers of the rally put out a statement condemning the violence and said the incident will only energize their cause.
It has been 1 week since Donald Trump won the 2016 presidential election.
So let's go to our political anchor, Allie Main, for more on President-elect Trump's preparations to succeed President Obama.
Thanks, Aaron. The Trump transition team is assembling the next presidential cabinet. One of Dr. Ben Carson's advisors said he turned down a role as Secretary of Health and Human Services because he doesn't think he has the government experience necessary to run a federal agency. Trump campaign officials said former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is the top contender for Secretary of State. Giuliani is a former federal prosecutor and is known for leading New York's response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks when he was mayor. Public policy professor and political analyst Sherry Babich-Jeffy joins us now live to discuss Trump's cabinet choices. Sherry, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So, Sherry, a lot of the talk during the campaign cycle was Trump is going to surround himself with people who are able to kind of carry out the roles in government that he maybe doesn't have experience in. Do you think Trump seems to be surrounding himself with leaders who will help him carry out his policies or not?
Well, those are two different questions. They may want to, and they may have been chosen because they could help him carry out his policies, but they are not Washington insiders. Many of them whose names are being batted about for major national security positions, the choices he's made for chief of staff and senior counselor are, by and large, with the possible exception of Reince Priebus, not Washington people, not experienced in White House or administration protocol norms and rules. It's a very, so far, a very outsider-loaded cabinet.
And I think your previous answer hinted at this, but why do some sources close to the transition team say that the process has been so controversial and intense?
I'm sorry? It wasn't so much. I don't understand the question. I don't think I had anything dealing with that in my answer to the question.
No, I mean,
and it isn't only people, some people connected to the campaign. It's reporters who have delved deeply into the dynamics of Donald Trump and his transition team, and there appears to be two or more power centers evolving within that transition team. One insider described the dynamic as a knife fight. Everybody is clawing and scratching for power. Everybody is clawing and scratching for their allies to be put in specific positions.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
President Obama is visiting Greece and other countries in his final trip abroad as president. He spoke today in Athens about the divisiveness of the 2016 election and his hopes for unity in our country.
You've seen some of the rhetoric among Republican elected officials and activists and media. Some of it pretty troubling. We know what happens when we start dividing ourselves along lines of race or religion or ethnicity. It's dangerous.
House Republicans nominated current Speaker of the House Paul Ryan for another term. Ryan has had a rocky relationship with the Trump team in the past, but today he emphasized cooperation within the party.
We're on the same page with our president-elect. I talk with Donald Trump virtually every single day. I spoke with Mike Pence this morning. We are on the same page. We're working hand in glove, and we're going to make sure that this is a very successful administration. But more importantly, we're going to make sure that the voices we heard from this election for the American people are acted upon.
On the other side of the aisle, House Democrats have postponed their leadership elections until November 30th. They say this will give them a chance to reflect on the results of the general election and proceed in a way that best suits their constituents. Brittany and Aaron, back to you.
Thanks, Allie. A Los Angeles attorney filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court challenging the constitutionality of the Electoral College.
I filed this lawsuit to have the court vindicate my constitutional right to have my vote for Hillary Clinton count equally with any vote for Donald Trump. What the Electoral College will, in almost all certainty, do on December 19th will be to elect Donald Trump, and that will unconstitutionally devalue my vote for Hillary Clinton.
Donald Trump won enough Electoral College votes to make him the next president, but CNS reports he'll lose the overall popular vote by approximately 1 million votes. LA Olympic officials are halfway across the globe pitching the City of Angels for the 2024 Games.
Hundreds of protesters marched in downtown LA to demonstrate their opposition to the pipeline in North Dakota.
And the FBI reports an increase in hate crimes against Muslims. We'll hear from the Los Angeles Muslim community about this disturbing trend.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed our world.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
More than 200 activists in downtown Los Angeles protested a pipeline that would carry oil from North Dakota to Illinois. It has drawn criticism from Native Americans and environmentalists. Annenberg Media's Linda Wang spoke to the protesters.
This protest against the Dakota Access Pipeline project was one of over 200 rallies across the country. The National Day of Action was sponsored by environmental groups and SoCal Indigenous peoples.
We got to stop this black snake. You know, not only for us, but for our future generations. You know, our kids, our grandkids drink from that water. So we're here just to support, and hopefully we can stop this black snake from going through.
President Obama said yesterday the administration would hold off on granting the final permit for the project, but activists want him to do more.
Well, I mean, I think the first action, the one that would call the most national attention, would be if President Obama were to go visit the site.
Today's rally in Los Angeles is taking place in front of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers office right here. This is a group that is conducting a federal environmental review and whose findings could put an end to this pipeline project. Protesters delivered dozens of letters to the Army Corps of Engineers demanding the permits for the pipeline to be revoked.
The pipeline was supposed to be routed through a predominantly white area, and instead, because those communities' rights to clean water and to be protected were protected, it's now been moved so that it will impact, Native nations first, but everyone actually, because these pipelines are unsafe and they do break, and then the water's polluted.
Supporters say this $3.7 billion project will create up to 12,000 jobs and generate an estimated $55 million a year in property taxes. The company constructing the pipeline has asked a federal court to grant permission to finish the project, which is already 85% complete. For Annenberg Media, I'm Linda Wang.
A new report about hate crimes in the United States has shown an overall rise in hate crimes during 2015. Tiffany Dupree shows us how Muslims have been affected.
At the Islamic Center of Southern California, a safe space for Muslims living in Los Angeles, many families fearing their safety no longer want to bring their families to the mosque.
Yes, we've absolutely taken additional measures at the Islamic Center. We have added armed security. We have what I would call rings of security now with the variety of, well, I can't really disclose exactly what we've put in place, but we have absolutely taken additional measures.
The FBI released its annual hate crime report showing a 67% increase in hate crimes against Muslims. From 2014 to 2015, there were 257 incidents reported, making Muslims the second highest targeted religious group. At USC, the Department of Public Safety has not seen a rise in any reported incidents of hate crimes on campus.
It seems to be a very infrequent thing here at USC. It's good that we have a very inclusive student community here, and so hate crimes aren't something we see a lot of. And when we do, we're not seeing violent hate crimes.
One Muslim student at USC was a little on edge after the presidential election, but feels safe on campus.
At USC especially, I feel like there's a very strong community, so we're not feeling it as much as other campuses are, but it's definitely a big problem in the United States right now.
The USC community is hoping to create a safe and open place for all students. For Annenberg Media, I'm Tiffany Dupree.
Well, Brittany, we're getting deeper into November. The days are getting shorter, but it's not getting any colder.
You know what, Aaron? This morning I was hoping it was going to be cold. I grabbed a jacket. It said it's just dark and muggy and hot. Rachel, can you please let us know what we should look forward to this week?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight is the last night to catch a glimpse of the supermoon. It won't be back until year 2034, so be sure to check it out. The gravitational pull from the supermoon is actually bringing in high tides until Wednesday morning, so if you're by the beach, beware of large waves and rip currents. Now let's take a look at our temperatures. Currently, it is 65 degrees out with 76% humidity. And tomorrow in the Inland Empire area, Big Bear winds could gust more than 40 miles per hour, 57 degrees in Big Bear, 81 in Palm Springs. And near the coast in Malibu, it's going to be 70 degrees, 72 in Thousand Oaks, and 71 in Simi Valley. And for us here at USC, we're going to sit comfortably at 71 degrees with 69 in Long Beach and 68 near LAX. As for the rest of the week, we are slightly seeing some cooler temperatures and even some clouds. 71 on Friday, 78 on Saturday. And by this time of the day, you probably looked down at your phone at least 50 times. The hours you spend on your phone could actually cause wear and tear on your spine. Take a look at what a USC spine doctor says is the best way to deal with text neck.
I say I use my phone about like 7 hours a day.
Text neck is caused by looking down at a screen or phone too frequently and for too long.
If I've been like sitting on uncomfortable table and chairs in the school and looking down for a really long time, that sometimes felt hurts.
USC's Dr. Raymond Haas says this pain could lead to severe damage.
After a period of time, cumulatively can cause more pressure on the discs and cause resultant pain, stiffness, spasm into the neck.
Dr. Haas says that the proper way to alleviate stress and tension on the neck is to draw your shoulders back and to align the head neutrally with the rest of your body.
We kind of get into this craned forward position here, and just consciously taking and tucking the chin back over your neck can take a little pressure off the discs.
Dr. Ha also says set a computer or phone alert every hour as a reminder to walk around and stretch. This will help alleviate pain and even boost your mood and energy. So guys, how many hours do you spend on your phone or iPod?
I really don't want to know. I'm afraid of what the results might say. What about you, Brittany?
You know, my excuse is we're journalists, so we're allowed to look at our phones a lot. Thanks so much, Rachel. LA's dream to host the 2024 Olympics could be in jeopardy. The city's presentation today in Qatar has been overshadowed by International Olympic Committee concerns about President-elect Donald Trump. Some believe the IOC has nothing to worry about.
The idea that one president really is going to be the cause of the loss of the Olympics for Los Angeles in 2024 is pretty far-fetched. No matter how long Donald Trump tries to stay in office, At this point, you know, he'd be a very, very old man by the time 2024 rolls around.
USC alum and gold medal winner Allison Felix was in Qatar with the LA Olympic Bid Committee, encouraging the IOC to pick LA as the next host of the Olympics. She said, quote, "America's diversity is our greatest strength. I believe LA is a perfect choice for the 2024 Games because the face of our city reflects the face of the Olympic movement itself."
Well, Brittany, the football team did it. They went into Washington and upset the number 4 and undefeated Huskies.
That's right, Aaron. And now the Trojans look ahead to their shadow down at the Rose Bowl. Let's toss it to our sports anchor, Jeff Dubroff.
That's right, guys. The world of sports is wild right now as the Los Angeles Rams made a big announcement today. And as you two mentioned, the Trojans are coming off a season-defining win and now look ahead to UCLA. And the water polo team defeated the #1 team in the country this past weekend and now begin postseason play. We have all of this and more when we return.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back to ATVN. Whether or not you call it a fluke, the USC Trojans are on a roll, and after a huge victory in Seattle, the Trojans are now ranked number 13 in the college football playoff rankings. USC now looks ahead to the epic matchup against their crosstown rival, UCLA Bruins. The Trojans are now riding a 6-game win streak and are not only led by quarterback Sam Darnold, but by a red-hot defense that has begun to look unstoppable and giving teams nightmares. As I mentioned, the Trojan defense is absolutely fantastic. In this win streak, the Trojans have allowed only 343 total yards and 2 touchdowns per game throughout this stretch. Oh, and I forgot to mention, each team who has faced and eventually lost to the Trojans has walked away with their lowest point total of the year. USC will try to win their 46th game in the historic rivalry and retain the victory bell this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. The USC women's volleyball team will make their final homestand this weekend when they get a visit from Oregon and Oregon State. And with 4 games left in the regular season, Coach Mick Haley wants to finish the season strong.
We've had more trouble at home, and I'm not quite sure why. I'm about ready to think it's distractions, not focused and preparing, but we can't afford not to be prepared for this weekend.
Of Troy will play their final 2 home games of the season this weekend at the Galen Center. The men's water polo team picked up an absolutely monumental win over the #1 UCLA Bruins and will now face the Stanford Cardinal in the first round of the MPSF tournament.
Stanford are playing really good water polo at the moment. They pushed UCLA and came within 1 goal, and they were really competitive with Cal on the weekend, so we're going to expect a really hard game against them. You know, they were really challenging to play up there earlier in the season, but they have a really young team and they've come a long way. So, you know, we're going to have to study them, and you know, it's going to be a really good challenge coming up.
Much like the football team, the water polo team is riding a great win streak that now stands at 12 wins and will look to extend that to lucky number 13 and carry that momentum into the rest of the postseason. The Trojans and the Cardinal will face off this Friday in Westwood. After weeks and weeks of waiting, the world will finally get to see what first overall pick Jared Goff can do. Today, the Los Angeles Rams announced that Goff will start this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. It's been a while since we have seen Goff in action, so let's briefly review LA's new starting QB. Goff graduated from the University of California at Berkeley, where he had over 12,000 passing yards and 96 touchdowns in his career with the Bears. This will be his first NFL start. Batman vs. Superman was another Hollywood dud in the long list of DC comic movies. However, what I saw this weekend not only was a tad strange, but would definitely give Ben Affleck a run for his money. Now this is Batman vs. Superman that I would have wanted to see. This is during a Houston Rockets basketball game, and look at these youngsters going after it. They battle it out, but in the end, Rockets mascot Clutch awards a tie. No 5-year-old ever enjoys tying, so they decide to hit Clutch right in the soft spot and run away. And guys, that is something you do not see every day.
You know, it's adorable, and I love it, Jeff.
I think Batman and Superman came out victorious in that one. The USO put on a special fall celebration today.
We'll show you how service members were treated at an early Thanksgiving celebration.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. Just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Bob Hope, USO at LAX, is making sure military members aren't forgotten this holiday season. These Marines were given the whole Thanksgiving spread this afternoon with turkey, stuffing, and of course mashed potatoes. This is the 15th year the USO has given troops a taste of home for those who won't actually make it home for the holidays.
Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. For everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Aaron Hendel.
And I'm Brittany Hope. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.